It's called Salikana. That's a dying system they have. The moment sannyasi feels now he has to quit his body, they literally starve for next 4 to 5 months. First they stop grains, then they stop fruits and vegetables, then by second month they stop even drinking water. Then they simply wait for death and leave their body. This is their system. Actually, this system was derived from Rishabhdeva, and Prabhupada was not very happy about this system. Srila Prabhupada did not approve this system. Prabhupada said it is not perfect. But Rishabhdeva practiced a perfect system, and later on some dilutions took place. So Rishabhdeva voluntarily he put himself in that situation. He was roaming around in villages naked. Rishabhdeva is an avatar, incarnation. He was voluntarily roaming in villages naked, and so that, children were throwing stones on him, people were spitting on him, and ladies took garbage and threw it on him. And sometimes villagers got so angry about Rishabhdeva, they tied him to a tree and started stoning him. And Rishabhdeva voluntarily created these situations, and he never reacted. The more the insults were, Rishabhdeva was internally depending on the Supreme Lord. It's a very amazing thing. How can a person live completely not reacting to provoking situations? Buddha did so. Many spiritual practitioners did. Provoking situations. Advaita Acharya Nityananda Prabhu showed that. Haridas Thakur proved that. Never reacted. These are all the lakshanas of a spiritual person. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sthita prajnasya khabasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadi kim prabhasheta vrajeta kim asita kim. What are the qualities of a self-controlled person? Sthita prajnasya khabasha. How does he speak? How does he walk? How does he talk? What is his language? How he sits. Every single action will prove that he is a saintly personality. Even now, by the mercy of Krishna, in ISKCON, we have many wonderful saintly personalities. They like that. Not a single action from them will hurt others. So Rishabhdeva voluntarily took so much of austerity, and he completely mastered reacting tendency. Fully mastered his reacting tendency. Right? And finally, he was roaming through jungle, and he caught himself in a forest fire and turned to ashes. So exactly he proved what is renunciation. He proved exactly what is renunciation and everything. And Maharaja Bharatha also practiced the same system. So after Rishabhdeva's time, this great personality became the king, Bharata Maharaja. And that is why this planet got this name Bharata. He became the king, he became the emperor. A wonderful personality, very intelligent, very capable. And he perfectly ruled this world. There was no complaints, people were very satisfied, people were very happy. And Bharata Maharaja did everything perfect. And at the right time, Bharata Maharaja also desired to do the retirement. He also wanted to do the retirement. And an amazing scale is given in scriptures. All those kings and all those personalities who lived in that time, they divided their life exactly into half. They led a proper normal family life for 50% of their time, and exactly at the middle of their life they renounced, and the rest 50% they all lived a life of tyaga. That's how they lived. 50% they live, like that. See, for example, Prahlad says, at the age of 50, we have to renounce. Understanding that in Kali Yuga, people will live for 100 years. Assuming that people in Kali Yuga will live for 100 years, Prahlad said, at 50, Vanam Vrajet. Go to jungle at the age of 50. But now, we are not living for 100 years, we are living for 70 years, 65 years, something like that. Imagine we are living for 70 years. That means, as per Bhagavatam, at the age of 35, we should go to jungle. And things have gone. So 50%, Shastra originally said 50%. But Prabhupada said, at least the last 25% we should lead a life of renunciation. That doesn't mean we have to go jungle and things like that, but we should be away from all the material attachments. Then we should lead a life. So Bharata Maharaja, exactly following his father's footsteps, when his kingdom was flourishing and people were so happy about Bharata and things were going on so nicely, Bharata renounced this thing. He gave up his kingdom. He was such a everything was going smooth. But in Kali Yuga, the understanding is, when things don't go properly, people are ready to renounce. They are ready to prepare to renounce. But Bharata, when things were going perfectly well, Bharata renounced everything and he went to Gandaki river. He went to Gandaki river. Gandaki river is a branch from Himalayas, and later on in Patna, in Bihar, this river merges with Ganges and turns into Ganges, Gandaki. When we are discussing this Bharata Maharaja's episode, it is also very important to know a small pastime about this Gandaki river. Gandaki was, originally a prostitute. Means she is from a Devadasi family. Her mother is a prostitute and her community is a prostitute community. A beautiful lesson from her life. So, she didn't like the style of her parents and the community is living, that Devadasi kind of life. This young girl, she was just 10, 11-year-old girl, very beautiful girl, and she had all amazing, wonderful qualities, such a divine qualities she had. And this young girl, Gandaki, she was not very happy about her community and the lifestyle, that Devadasi, that prostitute lifestyle. And she was telling her parents that I don't want to be like this, I don't want to be like this, I want to remain chaste to one man and finally attain Supreme Lord. That's my goal of life and I don't want to get diluted by these things. And she was very strict, but helplessly. She was also forced into that same Devadasi system. When she became 12 or 13-year-old young girl, she was put into that system, and first day she was waiting for her customer, and she decided mentally, this man who is coming first, I will surrender my life completely to him. I will not accept any other person in my life. And she was very deeply praying to Krishna. I don't want to be in this system. I want to be dharmic. I want to live religiously. And I want to give up my life. And she was very deeply praying. And later, after the sunset, a man, a leprosy, a man with different kinds of leprosy. His fingers were all, full of wounds all over his body. A leper came to Gandaki. And Gandaki very ceremoniously, religiously received him and washed his feet, gave nice things to eat, served him so perfectly. And to her shock of her life, that man died in the early morning. That man died. And she knew him for only one night. And the man was, with wounds all over his body. He had wounds and pusses oozing from his wounds. Nobody will go near to such a person. But very honestly, very sincerely, Gandaki served him. And when morning she found this man was dead. And they were taking him to the crematorium and they were about to throw his body in fire. All that firewoods were stacked and it's lit up, and this body, because people were not very happy. He's a leprosy, a man, leper. So nobody was very comfortable, happy doing the religious rites and things like that. They just wanted somehow to discard this body. So they took the body and they threw the body inside fire. And to the shock of everyone, Gandaki was ready to jump inside that fire and commit suicide. And people asked, "Are you crazy, mad? You don't even know that person. He was a leper and thank God he died. Why don't you make your life? And why are you spoiling?" But she was committed to that principle. Right? Then immediately Krishna appeared in front of Gandaki and said, "Gandaki, don't give away your life. These are all arrangements done by me to test how honest and truthful you are. Don't give away your life. Due to some other will of providence and arrangement, I am going to turn into Shaligram Shilas. So Gandaki, you please turn into river and I will be floating in your waters always as the Shaligram stones." So Gandaki happily took that seva and she turned. Because she was so committed to that principle, Krishna became very happy with her. See, sometimes in ISKCON, we don't appreciate certain religious principles. Krishna had 16,108 wives. Out of 16,108 wives, one wife is Bahula. Krishna's one of the wife is called Bahula. And you know who Bahula is? You would have gone through the story in your younger days, in kindergartens or schools maybe. A cow, the cow's name was Bahula. The cow was passing through a jungle and a tiger came to attack that cow. And the cow said to the tiger, "Don't attack me. My hungry calf is waiting for me. Please allow me. Let me go and feed my baby. Then I will come back and will become your prey." Then the tiger asked, How can I believe you?" Then Bahula said, "You can take up my words. I will come back." And the tiger waited. So the cow went and fed her calf, and Bahula came back as promised. She came back and said to the tiger, "Now you can pounce on me. Now you can eat me." Krishna was so moved by the words of Bahula, by the principle and promises Bahula made. And Krishna made Bahula one of his wives. So the cow Bahula became one of the wives of Krishna. She was one among the 16,108 wives.